I thought I couldn't understand her, until the night we finally became one. First contact. The descent pod shuddered as it pierced the iridescent atmosphere of Lumina. Dr. Maya Chen gripped her seat, eyes fixed on the crystalline landscape unfolding below. After 3 years of studying transmissions from this distant world, she was finally here, the first human linguist to make contact with the Vashi. Recording entry log, Maya spoke to her wrist device. Day 1 on Lumina. The surface appears to be composed of various crystalline formations that refract light in patterns unlike anything on Earth. Initial scans suggest these formations may play a role in the vibrational communication of the native species. The pod touched down on a flat expanse of blue-green crystal, sending ripples of light across the surface like water. Maya gathered her equipment, triple-checking the atmospheric analyzer. The readings were clear, breathable with higher oxygen levels than Earth. She unsealed her helmet and took her first breath of Lumina air. It tasted sweet, reminiscent of mountain air after a spring rain. A soft humming sound drew her attention to a tall, slender figure approaching from a nearby formation of spiraling crystals. The Vashi moved with fluid grace, their semi-translucent skin shifting through subtle shades of azure and violet. Maya had seen recordings, but nothing prepared her for the reality. The being before her seemed to glow from within, pulsing gently with an internal light. "I am Navari," the Vashi said, though their mouth didn't move. Instead, the sound seemed to resonate from their entire body, vibrating the air between them. "I have been assigned as your guide and translator." Maya inclined her head respectfully. "Dr. Maya Chen, thank you for agreeing to work with me." Navari's skin rippled with bands of deeper blue. "You are not what I expected." "Oh?" Maya began setting up her recording equipment. "What did you expect? Someone taller?" There was a musical quality to Navari's words that Maya's translation device couldn't quite capture. "Your message said you study communication." "I'm a xenolinguist," Maya explained, activating her sensors. "I analyze the patterns and structures of non-human languages." "Analyze." Navari repeated the word, their skin darkening. "You believe you can understand our speech by breaking it into pieces?" Maya paused, sensing disapproval. "That's typically how human linguistic research begins, yes. But I'm open to alternative approaches. Words are merely echoes of meaning for us," Navari said, leading Maya toward a shimmering pathway. "Your devices will record our sounds, but they will miss our true language." As they walked, Maya noticed how the crystals beneath their feet resonated with each step Navari took, creating ripples of harmonic tones that spread outward. Her own footsteps produced duller, discordant notes. "Your settlement is far?" she asked, trying to bridge the awkward silence. "Not in distance," Navari replied cryptically. They crested a ridge, revealing a valley filled with crystalline structures that seemed to grow naturally from the ground, yet displayed too much symmetry to be random. Vashi moved among these structures, their bodies creating a symphony of light and sound that Maya's instruments immediately began recording. "The harmony," Navari said simply. "Our home." That night, sleeping in her assigned dwelling, a curved chamber of resonant crystal, Maya dreamed of sounds too complex for human ears and patterns of light that seemed to speak directly to her soul. She woke with tears streaming down her face, though she couldn't explain why. For the first time in her career, she wondered if her scientific approach might be fundamentally insufficient. In her journal, she wrote, "Day 1 observations. The Vashi communication appears to operate on multiple simultaneous frequencies. My equipment detects only the surface level. Navari seems skeptical of my methods. Tomorrow I must listen differently." Outside her window, Lumina's 3 moons aligned, bathing the crystalline landscape in silver light that made the entire world seem to sing a gentle lullaby. Maya fell back asleep to its rhythm, unaware that her dreams were already beginning to resonate with the planet's own consciousness. Harmonic dissonance. After 2 weeks on Lumina, Maya's research had reached an impasse. Her equipment recorded the Vashi's vibrational patterns meticulously, but the resulting data resembled music more than language. Beautiful, but untranslatable by conventional means. "This makes no sense," she muttered, reviewing the day's recordings in her crystal dwelling. The sound patterns seemed to shift based on factors her instruments couldn't detect. There must be variables I'm missing. A gentle resonance announced Navari's presence before they appeared in the doorway. You are frustrated, they observed, their skin pulsing with amber tones. Maya sighed. I've documented over 300 distinct vibrational patterns, but I can't establish consistent meaning correlations. Perhaps because you are listening with these, Navari gestured toward her equipment, rather than with this. They placed a hand over their center, where a human's heart would be. I'm a scientist, Navari. I need empirical data. And yet you cry in your sleep when Lumina sings to you. Navari's statement wasn't accusatory, merely observational. Maya looked up sharply. How did you know that? The crystals carry your dream's resonance. Many Vashi have noticed, particularly Elder Tasso. He wishes to meet you. The journey to Elder Tasso's dwelling took them deeper into the harmony than Maya had yet ventured. Here the crystal formations grew taller, their structures more complex, creating natural amphitheaters where Vashi gathered in small groups, their bodies harmonizing in what Navari explained were community ceremonies. What are they doing? Maya asked, watching 5 Vashi whose skin rippled with synchronized patterns of light and sound. Sharing memories of those who have returned to the greater resonance, Navari explained. What you might call remembering the dead. Maya observed how the observers stood within the resonance field, their own bodies absorbing and reflecting the patterns. It's like they're experiencing the memories themselves. Yes. Navari seemed pleased by her observation. Now you begin to understand. Elder Tasso's dwelling was a perfect sphere of crystal suspended between 2 towering formations. Inside, the Elder's form was more luminous than other Vashi, their translucent skin showing traces of age in its deeper layers. The human who dreams with our world, Tasso's greeting resonated through Maya's body, rather than her ears. Your presence creates interesting harmonies. I'm honored to meet you, Maya replied, uncertain of the proper protocol. I hope my research hasn't disturbed your community. Curiosity is never disturbance, Tasso responded. But limitation can be. You seek to understand our language through devices that measure air vibrations, yet our communication flows through crystal, light, and consciousness itself. Maya frowned. Are you suggesting telepathy? No more than your devices are magic to those who don't understand them, Tasso replied. We attune ourselves to shared frequencies. The crystals of Lumina amplify and carry these resonances. That night, Elder Tasso invited Maya to observe a major community gathering. Hundreds of Vashi assembled in the central amphitheater as Lumina's moons aligned again, their light focusing through crystal formations to create a natural light show that synchronized with the collective vibrations of the Vashi. As the ceremony reached its peak, Maya felt something shift within her perception. The patterns suddenly seemed less random, more intentional, carrying emotions and images directly into her consciousness. She gasped, overwhelmed by a wave of shared joy emanating from the gathered Vashi. You feel it, Navari observed, standing beside her. Your brainwaves are beginning to resonate with Lumina's crystals. Is that possible? Maya whispered, watching patterns of light dance across the Vashi's skin that suddenly seemed meaningful rather than mysterious. You dream with Lumina already. Your unconscious mind has begun the attunement. Now you must learn to listen while awake. In the days that followed, Maya shifted her approach. Instead of relying solely on her equipment, she began meditating on the crystal formations, allowing their natural frequencies to resonate through her body. Slowly, patterns emerged, not a vocabulary of distinct words, but a flowing language of emotional states and concepts that blended together like musical chords. In her journal, she wrote, Day 17, Breakthrough. The Vashi language isn't sequential like human speech. It's simultaneous with multiple meanings layered together in harmonic relationships. The crystals aren't just their environment. They're part of their communication network, a living technology that amplifies their natural abilities. The Forbidden Caverns. The message arrived during Maya's morning meditation, a distress call from the Harmony's perimeter. A survey team from Galactic Resources Corporation had landed on Lumina's northern hemisphere and begun preliminary mining operations without consultation. They seek the crystals, Navari explained as they rushed toward the Harmony's central chamber. Your people believe they can be harvested for energy or technology. They're not my people, Maya protested. I'm here as a researcher, not a corporate representative. Yet you may be our only bridge, Elder Tasso said, joining them. The corporation's translators cannot comprehend our objections. They perceive only a primitive species protecting territory. Maya's stomach tightened. She had seen this scenario play out on other worlds, the corporate exploitation of resources deemed valuable regardless of indigenous claims. I'll help however I can. The meeting with the GRC representatives took place at the edge of the Harmony. 4 humans in corporate uniforms stood awkwardly among the crystals, their postures betraying discomfort with the alien environment. Dr. Chen? The lead surveyor seemed surprised. We weren't informed of human scientific presence here. I've been studying Vashi language and culture, Maya explained, choosing her words carefully. The crystal formations you're targeting aren't just mineral deposits, they're integral to Vashi communication and cultural practices. The surveyor frowned. Our scans show these crystals contain properties perfect for quantum computing matrices. The potential value is astronomical. The Vashi are willing to discuss limited harvesting from non-sacred areas, Maya translated. Teizo's complex resonance pattern as accurately as she could. But the northern region contains what you might call their ancestral records, generations of memories stored in crystal patterns. Hours of tense negotiation followed, with Maya translating not just words, but cultural concepts between the parties. By sunset, a tentative agreement had been reached. GRC would be granted access to a small eastern deposit with Vashi oversight, while the sacred northern regions would remain protected. As the corporate team departed, Navari's skin rippled with colors Maya now recognized as respect. You understand more than I thought possible for a human. Not enough, Maya admitted. I still can't fully perceive the deeper resonances you share. Navari was silent for a moment, their colors shifting through decision patterns. There is a place, the deep caverns. It is forbidden to outsiders, but it might help you understand. Why is it forbidden? The crystal resonance is strongest there, at Lumina's core. It can be overwhelming to those not born to it. But you already dream with Lumina. Perhaps you are prepared. The journey to the deep caverns took them through rarely traveled passages, descending through layers of increasingly pure crystal. As they ventured deeper, Maya noticed the ambient light dimming while the vibrations grew stronger, thrumming through her bones. These caverns formed when Lumina was young, Navari explained, their voice creating ripples in the crystalline walls. The first Vashi discovered that here, their thoughts could be preserved in the crystal matrices, a living record of our existence. The passage narrowed, opening finally into a vast underground chamber where massive crystal formations grew in impossible geometries. The air itself seemed to shimmer with concentrated energy. This is the heart chamber, Navari said reverently. The source of... A deep rumble interrupted them and the ground beneath their feet shifted violently. Crystalline dust rained from above. Seismic activity? Maya gasped, struggling to maintain balance. No. Navari's colors flashed alarm patterns. The mining operation. They must have begun extraction despite our agreement. Another tremor, stronger than the first, sent a massive crystal column crashing down behind them, blocking their exit path. The chamber's ceiling fractured, sending more debris falling around them. We're trapped, Maya realized, watching as dust filled the passage they had used to enter. Her communication device showed no signal this deep underground. Navari's light pulsed rapidly, sending emergency patterns through the crystal walls. Help will come, but it may take time. The resonance here interferes with direct communication. As the dust settled, Maya assessed their situation. The chamber remained structurally sound, but the exit was thoroughly blocked. Their light source was limited to Navari's bioluminescence and the faint glow of the surrounding crystals. How long can you survive without returning to the surface? Maya asked, concerned about her companion's alien physiology. I draw sustenance from Lumina's energy, Navari explained. Here, that energy is abundant. It is you I worry for. Your oxygen will eventually deplete. Maya checked her portable analyzer. Approximately 48 hours of breathable air in this space. Hopefully that's enough time for rescue. As hours passed, the close quarters and shared predicament dissolved the remaining barriers between them. Maya found herself asking questions about Vashi culture she had hesitated to voice before, while Navari seemed equally curious about human experiences. "Do all humans dream?" Navari asked as they sat in the soft glow of the crystals. "Yes, though not all remember their dreams," Maya replied. "Do the Vashi?" "Not as you do. Our consciousness never fully separates from the collective resonance. When you call sleep, we enter a deeper attunement state with Lumina itself." "That sounds beautiful," Maya said softly. "Humans often feel alone in our minds." Navari's colors shifted to a gentle pattern Maya hadn't seen before. "Perhaps that is why you seek connection so desperately in your waking hours." As oxygen levels gradually declined, Maya found herself experiencing strange perceptual shifts. The crystal vibrations became more distinct, carrying impressions and emotions she couldn't have detected before. Whether from oxygen deprivation or deepening resonance with the cavern, the boundary between herself and her surroundings began to blur. "Something's happening to me," she whispered, watching patterns of light move through the crystals that seemed to respond to her thoughts. Navari observed her with growing concern. "Your consciousness is beginning to resonate with the heart chamber. Without proper preparation, it could overwhelm your neural pathways. Is that dangerous?" Maya's voice sounded distant to her own ears. "Potentially," Navari admitted. "But there may be another way, a method that could help stabilize your resonance while we wait for rescue." "I'm open to suggestions," Maya said, fighting against the disorientation as another wave of crystal song washed through her mind. Navari's luminescence intensified. "There is a practice among the Vashi, the soul song sharing. It temporarily aligns two consciousness patterns, allowing stabilization through shared resonance." "Like a mind meld?" Maya asked, her scientific curiosity emerging despite their predicament. "More intimate," Navari replied, "and never before attempted between Vashi and human. The risk is significant to both participants." As Maya's breathing grew more labored in the thinning air, the choice became clearer. "I trust you," she said simply. "Tell me what to do." Shared frequencies. The air in the heart chamber had grown noticeably thinner. Maya's breathing came in shallow gasps as oxygen levels continued to decline. The magnificent crystal formation surrounding them now seemed like a beautiful tomb. "We should begin soon," Navari said, their voice carrying concern. "Your biological functions are showing stress patterns." Maya nodded, trying to focus through her growing lightheadedness. "Explain the process again." Navari moved closer, their luminescence dimming to a gentle glow. "The soul song is our most sacred form of connection. We align our vibrational patterns to create a temporary bridge between consciousness. Through this bridge we can stabilize each other." "But it's never been attempted with a human," Maya recalled. "Our physiologies are different, yes. But you've already shown unusual sensitivity to Lumina's resonance." Navari's skin rippled with colors that Maya now recognized as hopeful determination. "We must find the common frequency between us." They seated themselves face to face on the crystal floor. Maya could feel the gentle thrum of energy passing through the stone into her body. "First, we synchronize our breathing," Navari instructed. "Match your inhalations to my light pulses." Maya focused on Navari's luminescence, which now pulsed in a steady rhythm. She breathed in as Navari brightened, out as they dimmed. Gradually, her racing heartbeat began to slow. "Good," Navari encouraged. "Now place your hands against mine." Maya raised her hands, palms forward. Navari's long, slender fingers met hers, their skin cool and slightly textured like living silk. Where they touched, Navari's bioluminescence seemed to intensify. "Close your eyes and listen," Navari whispered. "Not with your ears, but with your entire being. Feel the vibration that exists in the space between us." Maya closed her eyes. At first she heard nothing beyond her own breathing and the ambient hum of the crystals. But as she focused, something else emerged. A subtle tone that seemed to resonate specifically between her hands and Navari's. "I hear it," she murmured. "A middle C, but more complex." "That is our beginning harmony," Navari explained. "Now I will initiate the deeper connection. It may feel overwhelming at first." Maya nodded, keeping her eyes closed. "I'm ready." The gentle tone between them suddenly amplified, not in volume but in presence, expanding to fill her awareness. With it came a cascade of sensations. Colors she had never seen before. Vibrations that carried emotional meanings too complex for words. She gasped as the first wave of Navari's consciousness touched hers. It was unlike anything she had experienced. Alien yet intimately familiar. As though remembering a dream she'd forgotten having. Nevari, she whispered. But the name now carried layers of meaning beyond the sound itself. And then the boundaries between them began to dissolve. Maya experienced Nevari's childhood, not as memory, but as lived experience. She felt the joy of first attunement with luminous crystals, the comfort of communal resonance with other Vashi, the peaceful solitude of deep meditation within the planet's harmonies. She understood in an instant what it meant to perceive the world as a Vashi, seeing through light patterns, feeling the vibrations of emotion carried through crystal and air. Simultaneously, Navari experienced the density of human perception, the intensity of physical sensation, the linear progression of thought, the complex emotional landscape of a species that lived in isolation from each other's minds. They witnessed Maya's childhood fascination with languages, her determination to understand what others could not, her lonely nights studying alien transmissions and dreaming of bridges between worlds. Time lost meaning in the merging of their consciousness. What might have been minutes or hours passed as they explored the landscape of each other's being. In this space beyond physical form, they discovered a profound truth. Beneath the differences in biology and perception lay a common foundation of awareness, a shared capacity for wonder and connection that transcended species. As oxygen levels continued to drop, Maya should have lost consciousness. Instead, she found herself supported by Navari's energy, their shared resonance creating a sustainable pattern that allowed her human physiology to function more efficiently in the depleted atmosphere. Through their connection, Maya gained access to perceptual abilities beyond human limitations. The crystal chamber around them revealed itself as a vast network of living information, each formation containing echoes of Vashi experiences across generations. What had seemed like simple mineral structures now appeared as an organic library of consciousness, storing and amplifying the collective wisdom of an entire species. For Navari, the experience was equally transformative. Through Maya's perception, they gained new appreciation for the adaptability of human thought, the creativity born from limitation, the courage required to venture alone into the unknown. Most surprising was the discovery of how deeply humans could feel their emotions, concentrated by their isolated consciousness into intense experiences that Vashi rarely knew in their more distributed awareness. Neither noticed when the rescue team finally broke through the debris blocking the chamber entrance. Elder Tasso led a group of Vashi whose collective resonance had finally penetrated the dense crystal to locate the trapped pair. "They are in soul song," Tasso observed with astonishment. A human and Vashi unprecedented. The rescuers waited respectfully, unwilling to disrupt the sacred connection prematurely. Only when the shared resonance naturally began to recede did Tasso approach, sending gentle harmonics to alert them of the rescue party's presence. Slowly, painfully, Maya and Navari separated their consciousness. The return to individual perception was disorienting for both, like suddenly losing a sense they had always possessed. "Are you harmed?" Elder Tasso asked as they helped the pair to their feet. Maya swayed slightly, her perception still halfway between human and Vashi understanding. The crystal chamber now sang to her with voices she could almost comprehend. "Not harmed," she managed to say. "Changed." Navari's colors shifted through patterns too complex for simple translation. Wonder, gratitude, and something deeper that had no human equivalent. "We have walked in each other's existence," Navari explained to Tasso. "The human's mind is remarkable in ways we never understood." As they were guided from the heart chamber, Maya realized she could still feel an echo of Navari's consciousness, a harmonic thread connecting them even as their individual awareness reasserted itself. "Is this permanent?" she asked softly. "The intensity will fade," Navari replied, "but the resonance pattern we established, that will remain as long as both of us exist." Maya nodded, understanding that whatever came next, neither of them would ever be truly alone again. Resonant Hearts. 3 months after the incident in the heart chamber, Maya stood before the Galactic Scientific Council, presenting her findings on Vashi communication. The council chambers, a sterile, technology-filled environment, felt jarringly discordant after her time on Lumina. In conclusion, she said, completing her formal report, the Vashi language cannot be adequately translated using conventional linguistic frameworks. It represents not just communication but a form of shared consciousness amplified through crystal resonance technology that evolved symbiotically with their biology. The head counselor leaned forward. Your findings are unprecedented, Dr. Chen. You're suggesting that after the Soul Song experience you retained some ability to perceive these resonance patterns? Maya nodded. I still require practice and concentration, but yes, the experience permanently altered my neural pathways, creating what might be called a bilingual brain, capable of processing both human language and Vashi resonance. And the mining rights dispute? Another counselor asked. Galactic Resources claims you've been compromised, that you're advocating Vashi interests over human advancement. Maya smiled slightly. I'm advocating for understanding before exploitation. The crystals GRC wishes to harvest aren't merely resources, they're living repositories of consciousness. Harvesting them without proper protocols would be equivalent to burning ancient libraries for kindling. The debate continued for hours, with Maya defending both her scientific objectivity and her newfound perspective. When the council finally recessed to consider her recommendations, she stepped out onto a balcony overlooking the sprawling city of New Geneva, Earth's diplomatic capital. They fear what they don't understand, came a familiar resonant voice behind her. Maya turned to find Navari approaching, their luminescence subdued in the bright Earth sunlight but still visible to her enhanced perception. You came, she said, unable to hide her delight. I wasn't sure if Earth's atmosphere would be compatible. It is. Dense, Navari admitted, but tolerable for short periods. The council granted special dispensation for my testimony tomorrow. Maya stepped closer, instinctively reaching for the resonance connection that had become a comfort between them. Even diminished by distance from Lumina's amplifying crystals, their bond remained, a subtle harmony underlying their separate existences. I've missed you, she said simply, the words carrying emotional resonance that ordinary humans wouldn't detect. And I you. Navari's colors shifted through patterns of affection. The harmony feels incomplete without your unique resonance. They stood together, watching aircraft move through Earth's busy skyways. Though they didn't touch physically, their consciousness gently intertwined in the space between them, a private connection independent of distance or circumstance. The mining corporation has submitted a revised proposal, Maya informed Navari. They're offering to develop non-invasive harvesting techniques under Vashi supervision, with 30% of proceeds going to establish a cultural preservation fund. Elder Tasso anticipated this, Navari replied. He believes coexistence is possible if humans can learn to listen before they take. Maya nodded. Some are listening. My research has attracted interest from academics, diplomats, even artists fascinated by the concept of resonance-based communication. And you? Navari asked, their colors shifting to patterns of inquiry. Will you stay on Earth once the hearings conclude? The question had been weighing on Maya for weeks. Her career opportunities had expanded exponentially. Prestigious universities offering research positions, publishing deals for her groundbreaking work, even a proposed ambassadorship to Lumina. I've submitted a counter-proposal to the council, she admitted. A permanent research outpost on Lumina, staffed by specially trained linguists and cultural anthropologists. With Vashi approval, of course. As director, Navari's colors brightened with hope. Co-director, Maya corrected. Alongside a Vashi counterpart, true understanding requires equality. 6 months later, Maya stood at the entrance of the newly established Harmonic Institute, a structure of Earth architecture built with Lumina crystals, designed to facilitate cross-species communication and research. Beside her, Navari had taken the formal position of Vashi co-director. The first group of human researchers approached the facility with wide-eyed wonder, taking in the crystalline landscape of Lumina with the same awe Maya had felt upon her arrival. Welcome to Lumina, Maya greeted them. Before we begin orientation, I want to emphasize that you're not just here to study the Vashi. You're here to learn with them. True understanding requires openness to experiences beyond conventional human perception. As she spoke, Navari's resonance harmonized with her words, adding emotional depth that the new arrivals couldn't yet perceive, but would eventually learn to feel. The subtle synchronization between human speech and Vashi resonance demonstrated the very bridge they hoped to build for others. Later that evening, Maya and Navari retreated to their private dwelling, a hybrid structure designed for both human comfort and Vashi resonance needs. As Lumina's moons rose, bathing the crystals in silver light, they settled into their nightly ritual of shared consciousness. No longer requiring physical contact to establish connection, they simply focused on the harmonic thread that permanently linked them, allowing their separate awareness to merge into the unique shared consciousness they had discovered in the heart chamber. In this space beyond species, they communicated without limitation, experiencing each other's day, sharing perceptions and emotions with perfect clarity. What had begun as a desperate survival measure had evolved into something profound, a relationship without parallel in either human or Vashi experience. The new researchers show promise. Navari's thoughts flowed into their shared awareness. Especially the musician. She already senses the harmonic patterns. Music is humanity's closest approximation to your language, Maya's consciousness responded. It's why I've incorporated musical training into the program. As their shared awareness deepened, they contemplated the future unfolding before them. Other species had begun expressing interest in Lumina's unique communication methods. The Harmonic Institute was positioned to become a galactic center for cross-species understanding, a model for connection across biological and perceptual divides. Yet beyond these grand ambitions lay the simple miracle of their own bond. Two beings from different worlds who had found resonance in their differences rather than discord. What had started as a scientific pursuit had transformed into something neither language fully captured, a harmony of souls that transcended the very concept of separation. As Lumina sang its nightly symphony through the surrounding crystals, Maya and Navari's consciousness danced together in patterns as complex and beautiful as the universe itself, no longer alien to each other, but home. In her personal journal, written later that night after their consciousness had gently separated, Maya made a final entry to conclude her official research documentation. Perhaps the greatest discovery is not that the Vashi communicate differently than humans, but that beneath all our differences, biological, perceptual, cultural, lies a universal capacity for connection. We are, all of us, resonant beings seeking harmony with others. In that search for connection lies our greatest strength and our most profound joy. The universe speaks in infinite languages. Our task is not to translate, but to listen with our entire being. And in that listening, find the common song that unites us all. Outside, Lumina's crystals hummed in perfect resonance with her words, carrying their meaning into the planet's living memory. One more harmony in the ever-expanding symphony of understanding between worlds.